If you are organizing gold swaps, it is now against terms of service and you can get your account banned or suspended. Yo, what's up guys? It's your boy RedCloud. Blizzard has just announced that gold swapping is now a bannable offense in World of Warcraft. So if you've been moving gold from region to region, server to server, and even between classic and retail, that is now a bannable offense and you can get your account suspended. So this is not a rumor either. Blizzard has literally doubled down on what they stated earlier with official blue posts clarifying what is considered gold swapping and what is against terms of service now with gold swapping. Today we're breaking down what happened, why it happened, and also how it affects you as a player, and hopefully it doesn't. First things first, be sure to like the video, subscribe for more content like this as it does help me out quite a lot, and also come check out my live stream. I'm live every day on Twitch and here on YouTube. So gold swapping's actually been around for forever. It's something that you wouldn't even think that would be against terms of service because it kind of almost like makes sense. However, now it is against terms of service, so you can no longer, for example, move 100,000 gold of retail gold to get 1,000 gold on classic gold. Right? So if you have a buddy that wants to do something like that, you cannot do that. It is against terms of service. And same thing applies if you're moving like 100,000 gold of NA gold from one server to the EU region. You cannot do that anymore. So this has been a low-key thing for a very long time. I think people have tolerated these types of transactions and maybe even just like look the other way to these types of transactions. But now Blizzard is cracking down on this. So it does not matter if it's classic to retail, NA to EU, or server to server. If you are organizing gold swaps, it is now against terms of service and you can get your account banned or suspended. If you are part of a gold swapping community, that is definitely a very, very bannable offense. That is definitely a no-no. Obviously, you know, if you're in a community like that, you probably aren't watching this type of video, but there are those types of communities out there. And obviously they run the risks of getting banned every single day from even organizing stuff like that from the get-go. But those things obviously are bannable now. So why did Blizzard do this? Obviously, this is going to be the heated topic of why they did it. And it is because of RMT. If you do not know what RMT is, it means real money trading. Real money trading means purchasing any type of in-game item, gold, or service for actual USD, actual money, real money, okay? Like PayPal, Cash App, whatever it is, that would be considered real money trading. So that is why they're doing it. They want to crack down on these types of transactions. I'll give you guys an example of how this would crack down on RMT. So let's say someone buys $100 worth of gold from a Discord or a website and they select X server, right? So if the gold seller, for example, is on a separate server and they have all the gold, but they don't have it on X server, someone would have to move Y gold to X server, right? So now, since they cannot move it from Y to X, they won't be able to fulfill that order, which would entail losing money and therefore essentially cracking down on RMT. That's just an example of something like that. And hopefully that's easy to understand. And to be fair, some gold swaps have also been used as a loophole to transfer money values across regions. Blizzard doesn't want WoW acting like a crypto wallet, and that makes sense. So of course this affects gold sellers, but of course this is also going to affect real legit players who are moving gold from one server to another because they need to. However, I also feel like there is also the warband gold thing where you can just put it in your bank and move it from one server to another. There's nothing wrong or illegitimate about that. However, of course, you're the one who has to have that gold from the get-go. So obviously there is that. But I think that the majority of this crackdown is going to be affecting gold sellers rather than actual real players. However, it will be affecting actual legitimate players as well. So the blue post actual clarifications that went on it, they were talking about just one-offs trades that you may do with friends. That is still risky. However, I do think that they probably won't be like super cracking down on stuff like that if it's like a one-time thing or maybe like 2 times or something like that. However, if it's a repetitive thing, they can tell, you know, they can see all that kind of stuff and they may issue punishments, issue warnings, or issue just complete permanent bans for repetitive infractions of, you know, the terms of service. Obviously, there are, you know, transactions via friends, but if it's on a Discord, Reddit, trade chat, anything like that, it is a permaban pretty much. It's a guaranteed ban. And if you're facilitating swaps for other players, that is also against terms of service. So if you're thinking, maybe they won't catch me. I mean, if you continue to do it, eventually you will be caught and eventually you will probably get suspension or a permaban. And hopefully that is not the case. So what does this mean for you guys as players? Pretty much if you have been trying to fund alts on different servers, different regions, or if let's say you play a lot of retail World of Warcraft and you want to make gold on classic World of Warcraft and you want to move gold from retail to classic, you can no longer do this. It can result in a ban or suspension to your account. And after this post, there's not going to be any exceptions or I didn't knows. This is going to be something that they are going to be very strict on. My suggestion, guys, would be to keep your gold legit as possible and also keep your gold local. You know, keep it server to server. There is a lot of fun in actually making gold in World of Warcraft. There are so many ways to make gold as well. And I do know that, you know, you could even buy a gold token if you wanted to from Blizzard. And all I gotta say is really just be careful with transactions that you're making and stuff like that. Definitely do not buy things online for RMT, and definitely, you know, just be careful if anybody asks for favors and stuff like that. Make sure that you are also assessing the risks just like they are, but I would highly suggest not doing anything like that. Real quick though, guys, I did want to clarify that if you are, let's say, in a raid or something like that, and you're able to trade with somebody right then and there, that is not something that is against terms of service. Like if you are in a raid and they're from Kel'Thuzad and you're from Tichondrius, and you decide to give them like 50,000 gold or something like that, if you did a death roll or something, that is not against terms of service. That is something that's in game. That is completely fine. But if you're doing it from like realm to realm, server to server, or region to region, stuff like that, that's when it gets illegitimate. That's when it gets against terms of service, and so on and so forth. The other thing that I wanted to discuss is that if you get scammed, for example, if you go ahead and agree to do something with another player and do, like, let's say from classic to retail, like give them 100 gold and you get 10,000 gold here on classic or whatever the exchange is, wherever. If they don't follow through with their end, you are SOL on that gold. However, you can report those types of players so that Blizzard can take action on them so that they will, you know, no longer be able to scam people. But, you know, obviously those things come at their own risks. All right, guys, so if Blizzard changes their policy on any of the stances that they've taken with gold swapping, I'm going to make a video on that for you guys as well. Be sure to like the video, subscribe for more content like this, and also come check out my live stream. I'm live every day on Twitch. I play a lot of World of Warcraft and different versions of World of Warcraft as well. So be sure to check that out. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace out.